Yogiri was a weak and pathetic loser who only knew how to sleep around, just like his mom. With the blood of all the overpowered protagonists running through his veins, he turns out to have an SS rank instant death ability that could kill anyone he wishes. Despite having an ugly face, Yogiri still has W-Riz unlike any of you and hides his power to blend in with all the side characters. Previously, he was transported to another world along with all of his classmates in Bus-kun. They were given special powers called gifts by a sage named Sion, who was the one that took them to the other world. The students were future sage candidates who needed to attain the title of sage in the given time. However, 4 students weren't compatible with the gifts, and that included Yogiri. The useless group was left to die at the hands of a wyvern, while the rest of the students went to the town. The beast kills 2 of the extras when our protagonist is awoken by his classmate Tamachika. She holds his arm with her milkers, making him realize that she has the plot of the main heroine. For the sake of the plot, Yogiri decides to save her by killing the dragon with one word. Fast forward to the latest episode, Tamachika is driving a Hummer and barely managing to not go to heaven. Yogiri went back to sleep like always because it's only one of the 2 things he can do. The scene changes to a flashback where a woman has passed the test for her tutoring job. However, the employer tells her that she might die on the job. The woman was Asaka Takatu, hired to tutor a monster nicknamed Alpha Omega. It was a being capable of killing anything it wished, so they needed to teach it manners for it to not destroy the world. After a series of passages, Asaka arrives at the bottom-most floor where the creature was being held. Even though it was underground, the place had a sky and looked as if she was on the surface. With the help of the instructions she was given, Asaka enters the house where she was supposed to stay with the beast. Turns out, it was a very young Yogiri who was very confused at Asaka's arrival. The woman's face told that she thought she got pranked by some YouTuber, so she takes the protagonist and throws him outside for him to escape. Yogiri points at something behind her and it dies. It was a devil hiding in her shadow that came to kill Yogiri. After the dilemma is over, Asaka introduces herself to the boy and asks for his name. He says that he's called Alpha Omega, but Asaka asks for his real name. The kid reveals that he was called Lord Akakushi before he came to the facility. More importantly, he was hungry and wanted to eat. The duo go back to the house where the protagonist takes a bath. Meanwhile, Asaka realizes that it was her first time seeing a stove, so she cooks instant noodles instead. While eating their food, Asaka thinks about a name for our protagonist. After thinking, she realizes that he looks like her dog, so she names him Yogiri. She also gives him her last name, making it Yogiri Takatu. Back to the present, Tamachika wakes up Yogiri because they had run into a dead end. The protagonist isn't even sure why they're going to the capital, so Tamachika tells him that they need to meet Sion the sage for them to go back to their world. However, Yogiri seems to have a quicker way to meet her. They hit the reverse pedal only for the Hummer to get backshotted by a dragon. Just like always, our protagonist takes revenge for taking their ride's virginity. Unfortunately, their whole group of BDCs was arriving for a gangbang after hearing about the grip of the Hummer. Yogiri easily kills all of them with one move, only to be jumped by a giant golden thunder dragon. I just hope it doesn't turn into a loli. The dragon shits its pants after seeing Yogiri and flies off, but our protagonist stops it and calls it back. It turned out to be a loli. No! Yogiri questioned his whole life after witnessing this scene, and so do I. The little girl explains that she came to see if they were qualified enough to see the swordsman that lives on these mountains. He was similar to Sion as he could give gifts, but the group was only interested in going to the capital. Miss Loli mentions that the swordmaster is as strong as a sage, making them consider going as he might have information about how they can return to their world. The girl introduces herself as Attila, promising that she'll take them to the capital if they meet her master. After a journey through the forest, they arrive at the location where the swordmaster was present. There were many other participants waiting for the competition to choose the next knight of the Divine King. The old swordmaster arrives and straight up orders everyone to kill each other until half are left. If more of them were alive after 10 minutes, then everyone would be disqualified. Yogiri says that he doesn't care about failing and wants to leave, but old man Urabe add another rule that everyone will be disqualified if someone escapes. The battle royale begins and the side characters start killing off the extras. Our protagonist was about to send some extras to heaven, but a guy interrupts and explains that the idea behind the test is to see how the participants handle themselves in difficult situations. Yogiri senses bloodlust from some people hiding behind the bushes, and they suddenly hug the ground. Meanwhile, a guy who got divided like Gojo requests Tamachika to hand him the LGBTQ magic stone in front of him. She puts it in his hand, and he starts breathing air again. The old man orders everyone to follow him to the next location. Attila requests the duo that they become the Knights of the Divine, so she can become their follower. They decide to listen to her and follow Swordmaster Urabe alongside the Blondie and the Andrew Tate revived man. The guy was named Rick, and the other one was Lionel, who only came here because a friend invited him. Our protagonist asks Rick about who the Divine King is. He explains that the Divine King handles the gods or demons that have been sealed away. 1,000 years ago, the Dark God was sealed by the Divine King himself, but he's still a threat to humanity. In order to revive him, the pawns of the Dark God have been active all over the land. Tamachika asks Lionel about the stone that he used earlier. The guy says that it was an apology stone that a goddess gave him because of his extreme misfortune. His luck was so bad that he got randomly picked as a sacrifice for a mysterious organization, but the goddess saved him from dying. As an apology, she gives him apology stones at midnight, equivalent to the amount of bad luck he faced during that day. He can either uses them to heal severe injuries or to get a gacha pull. 3 stones are used up for 1 gacha, which mostly gets him trashy items to scrub his ass. The group pass through a barrier that teleports them to another location. Immediately, Tamachika's guardian spirit tells her to run away as there was a terrifying existence lying ahead. She doesn't listen to her and enters the giant tower with the rest of the participants. After arriving at the top, the old man orders everyone to look down. They all see a portal-like object, which was known as the end of the world. Tamachika sees a man in black with a woman in white, both frozen as her sword passes through them both. Urabe says that it's the Swordmaster and the Dark Lord who was sealed thousands of years ago. Suddenly, an arrogant and ugly girl named Frederica makes her presence known. She was the friend that invited Lionel to the test, who had the intention of killing the Dark God all by herself. She throws a spell at the orb, thinking that it successfully killed the god. However, the attack starts moving more slowly than my grandma. Urabe explains that time flows slowly inside the barrier, so that attack would probably reach him after a few hundred years. With this, the selection exam begins. The mission was to go the bottom of the tower within 24 hours, while also accumulating 100 points in the tower. Several other participants had been added to the competition. Before they begin, Yogiri makes a sour face and tells Tamachika that he has shat his pants. Goodbye, see you tomorrow.